Still getting myself ready. All right, guys. Good afternoon to you. Good evening, good night, good morning, good day. What time is it where you are? Well, it's time for 1, 2, Talk It Off. 1, 2, Talk It Off. Every Monday at 8:30. That's what we do. We just get together. And guys, I want you today to come on screen with me. Yes. Why? Because that's what the conversation is about. We had a few people who actually came on screen last time. And I do hope that you guys will join me on screen again because it's about the conversation. It's talking to each other and getting to put over your point of view. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm talking about. So today is going to be last week Monday. We were chatting about the Guyanese and some of them who were like, well, you know what, we were really pushed out and we left so many valuable things in Barbados. That's what we're going to be talking about today. They want to chat with Mia Mottley, the current Prime Minister, the first history-making female prime minister, not the first the history-making female prime minister, because she's not the first, but she's going to be there, and people are going to be wanting to chat with her to say, hey, listen, can we come back? We weren't doing anything wrong, we weren't doing anything illegal, and I want to get your opinion on that. I want to hear what you think about that. Now, something also that I wanted to talk about last time was there was a woman who sold one of her children for $2,500 to cover a drug debt. And she had 2 more kids that she was going to put up for sale. Crazy. But you know what? I'm not even going to talk about that woman. What I want to talk about is the person who bought the child. I want you to discuss that with me. What's happening in our society where someone is going to buy a child? What are you going to buy that child to do? All right. And so the other thing I want to talk about is, so kids are in South Africa, where I didn't get to finish because everybody was like, they really want to talk about the Guyanese Barbadian thing. So I want to talk about that, where you have those South African kids who were drowning in pit toilets. I want to chat about that. So come on screen with me. Come on in. Let's chat. Let's talk. Let's have a little tit-tat and so on and see how things go and so on and so forth. Hey DJ, what's going on? I'm gonna get you one of these days to come and ring a little pang on here, and do a little thing. Thank you for joining me, and thank you so much for your support. And Alicia, how are you, beloved? I hope you're awesome. And that also reminds me that how do you come on screen? Okay, so this is what you do. If you look at the bottom, well, first let me make sure here that I can allow people to come on screen. Request to join. Right. You will see a little head and body thing at the bottom of your screen, and then another little square. This is Facebook we're talking about. Another little square, and you just click on that, and you should be able to see that request sent in there. All right. And on Instagram, you are going to see on the bottom of your screen as well, you see 2 little smiley faces interlocked. Just click on that and you can join me on screen. So guys, if you want to come on, tell me what it is you're doing, share your thoughts with me, share your business information with me, feel free to do just that. All right. And it doesn't just have to be, if there's something that I'm talking about, you're like, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about something completely different. You can tell me what it is you want to talk about. Now, I'll tell you, I don't have the whole professional thing about being able to cut off people or dump people like terrestrial radio or television, but or beep you out or whatever it is. So I'm going to ask you to be respectful. No cussing, no lewdness, no commonness. Nuh-uh. If we're talking, we're talking. If you're talking over me, I'll hush. Because if we're both talking at the same time, nobody's going to hear. But I'm hoping that you'll be respectful, that after you speak, and then I speak, and then you speak, and then I speak, and then when I say ta-ta, you say ta-ta. True? Okay. So, simple rules, right? Was that rules of engagement? This ain't no engagement. This is just a little rule. A little rule that we have that we're going to follow. All right. And so you've got it, Julia, how you come on screen. You got that part? And for some strange reason, all right, here we go. Something is going on here now. Stay on page. And all right, so let's see what's going on here. And Fred, okay, yes. So she's got it. All right, so we've got some people shouting there, huh? I'm gonna bring them back on screen one of these days. My babies are amazing. I think so. I don't care if you think so or not. I think they're amazing. Right. All right. Okay. So let me see if I can get this here. I was trying to invite some people, but you know, it's kind of giving me that little issue there. But so Julia, you've got it. Okay, great. And I'm not too sure why it's not showing me this. Facebook every time, boy, without fail. I know. They're amazing. I think they're amazing. Without fail, Facebook is making sure. Okay, well, yeah. So you guys heard that. All right, so I don't know how this is going to happen today, but if you're having issues with, and this is what we do every single time, if you're having issues with joining me on screen on Facebook, there's Instagram, correct? Yes. And it's close enough that you can actually hear what's going on anyhow. All right, guys. So I want to say thank you to all of you so far that has been really, you've been coming on, you've been joining, and a few of you have been sharing the page, and I really appreciate it. So I really appreciate if more of you would join and share the page, share the video, and trying to do the YouTube thing, but that is just so much. Listen, I ain't gonna lie to you. Let me talk slow so that these other people that don't understand the Bajan accent can understand. I think that social media is enough hard work. Serious. You gotta be on point. You have to be. It's like, oh my goodness, so much little things to do. Then you breathe and then you go back to your regular job. But yeah, social media is really an interesting feat. And I really applaud the people who are really doing it and kicking it and really pushing it when it comes to doing their work and their stuff on social media. It's a lot of stuff. All right. So let's jump right in there. And don't forget, if you want to come on screen with me, please do that without any hesitation whatsoever. So remember last time we were talking about, I'm not going to go to the pages and stuff and read for you and so on. It's basic and simple and clear cut. In a nutshell, or in a breadfruit leaf, or whatever you want to put it in, or fig leaf. When David Thompson first came into power, he basically put some things in place, and he went by the letter of the law, allowing the customs and immigration to really exercise and put down their hand and really send home people who were illegal. And obviously the ones who were illegal would stay. But it wasn't just like that. So you illegal, go home. You illegal, go home. It wasn't like you break the law, go home. It wasn't like that. And a lot of people like others to think that is exactly what happened. But when he did this, he gave people a time frame, not 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks or anything like that. He gave them pretty good long time frame. And obviously, because you are illegal, some people had started the process before, and then there were others who hadn't started anything. So if you had started the process before, it means that your time to wait on your paperwork and everything to be done and you know, to be concise and everything was shorter. It means that you would most likely and definitely be able to take advantage of the amnesty that the government had put in place. And if you were now about to begin your process of your paperwork, submitting it to immigration and so on, it means that if it was normally going to take you a year because of the amount of people that would be doing it, it would no longer take you a year. It would take you a little bit longer than that. So you didn't exercise the wisdom. You know, it's like, what is it? What is it when people hear a hurricane or a storm coming, everybody just goes swoosh, and they run to the supermarket or to the gas station, and then they complain about the long lines. Duh. How about this? Just don't let your car go to E. Or it's just a matter of planning and being obedient to the law and following the letter of the law and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, so a number of people were quite irritated, and a number of people were deported, obviously leaving quite a bit of their valuables behind. This they did not want to do. And you can understand why they wouldn't want to leave their things behind. You would have spent $13,000, $14,000, $20,000 on a vehicle, $5,000, $6,000, $10,000, $11,000, $30,000 on equipment, depending on what you decided you wanted to do for it. As is the instance with one gentleman who was running a construction business. And my question is this. One of my questions is this. I'm talking, I'm not seeing this thing going on here. Hang on. Yes, you do. I don't remember I wasn't looking, Julie, I'm sorry, what that was in connection with. The yes, you do part. But you will, when you come on screen, you'll be able to share it with me. I'm not too sure why. All right, so quite a few people would not have had their stuff in order. And so yeah, going back to my question, where I said my question is this. What I'm concerned with is how and why. If you've got no legal ground to stand up, how are you able to get your NIS number and your NIS paperwork, and you can go to the registry there on Tudor Street, that place, register your business and get the lawyers to do it for you and so on, and pay the money and all this sort of stuff. But you can't just go to the immigration department and say, hey, listen, I want to stay here. I'm running a viable business. I'm creating jobs for people. And so these are my contracts, and these are the people I'm doing stuff for, and these are the houses I'm building. These are the people that I employ, and I pay them this. And you are showing that you're exemplary. You're showing that apart from coming to this country and creating a new life for yourself, you're also adding to the lives of people in the country that you're in. So I'm confused as to why would you wait 7, 8, 9, 10 years to build all of, you're making me stutter, to build all of this and then say, well, hey, you know what? I don't need to be a citizen of this country. So others are going to say this. Others are going to say, well, we're all CARICOM. We're all members of the Commonwealth. I agree. We're all members of the Commonwealth, and every single person in the Commonwealth will be doing things to make sure that they are able to strengthen their country and keep things going a certain way and so on. So just the same way how we would say, it's well known, okay, Jamaicans are very patriotic. I'm not saying Barbadians are not. I'm not saying Dominicans are not. I'm not saying Trinidadians are not. Okay? Throughout the Caribbean, all of the countries, all of the islands are very patriotic. But a Jamaican would run a roughshod over you for their country, without a doubt. They would do bad, for lack of a better term. All right. You may get the same thing with Trinidad or Barbados or Montserrat, St. Kitts, Nevis, Antigua, Barbuda. You may get the same thing. all right? But it is recognized that this nationality is very, very, very patriotic. And even the Americans may be considered patriotic, but I've known some of them to just walk away from the flag. You get me? Right. So I'm still trying to see here. Again, Facebook is doing this to me. But Julia, you know what? If you want to, you can always just switch over to Instagram. You know what I will do? I'm going to end my Facebook post, my Facebook show live, and start it back and see what's going on, because it's always something with Facebook. Always, always something. Facebook, why do you do this to me? Why? Okay, so guys, I'm starting Facebook over. It's not even allowing me to save it. It's too funny. Something else. But anyhow. Okay. Alright, it's all stuck and stuff. Alright, so yeah, whatever can go wrong will go wrong. And I closed it, right? And it's still going on. Even on the PC, so it's not like it's not like it is my equipment, but it's Facebook. And I'm sure that other people have these problems. They're just able to weather it way better than me. My temperance for these kind of things, nominal. Yes. All right, here we go. So let's start Facebook over again. Now let's see what we can come up with here.
These came back from a search.
I wasn't searching for anything. Here we go. All right. And you know what? While that is happening, yeah, it says Facebook has stopped. All right. So while that is happening, and I really don't want to go too far either, as you can see, and then miss out on my Facebook post. I would love if everything would just work together, work together, work together. So you guys enjoying the interlude? Yeah. All right. So in the meantime, I'm gonna go give you a little bit of Benja. Yes. And one of my favorites is called Fly Away. Yes, I will give you that in just a second. After. This one's called Fly Away. Hold up. Woo. Can you guys hear it, Instagram? If you can, just let me know. So divine, what we receive. All right, here we go. Woo. We should disappear. Take this demon, stop my feeling. Need of your mind. You'll be screaming on that demon up that green tile. I can feel you loving on me. I can feel you. Hey DJ, hope you get this one sometime. We have the power that we can rewind. We give it all to benefit mankind. So now I refuse to show. Hey, Lord, we set the Father's will and walk in love, and with the wings of a dove. Hey, Lord, we fly into the heavens up above. We just fly away. Let me slowly, but I'm too strong to go down. We come to Father, just go and give up my crown. My Give me a second. Fly away, fly away. I gotta post this thing every time. Hey, 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 hey. I can feel you loving on me. Oh, I can feel you loving on me. Okay, here we go. Loving on me cause my girl bye-bye. All about cause we bout to take flight. Run away, fly away from the night. All right. So guys, yes, that was it there. I think I put it back up, so hopefully everything is on again and good again. And like I said, if you can't get there, come here on Instagram and we'll do a little shindig there going on. Right, so as I was talking about this thing with the people who are coming to Barbados illegally and are not expecting to run into the law. That's like going down the street in a 55-mile zone, which is pretty decent, at 82 or 92 or 103 and expecting not to be caught. And then when you're caught, you go like, well, what's the problem? I think it's funny because you've broken the law, but you're baffled. Like recently there was this post on Facebook. Not recently, I saw it yesterday. There was this post on Facebook, and so this guy, he pulls out from his parking spot, and he's driving straight, and everybody can see the pole, so we immediately know that, well, you know, he's going to drive into that pole, and he's going to want to figure out what's going on. So said, so done. Mr. Man drove into the pole, and after driving into the pole, he gets out of his car, and he stands and he looks at the pole in utter awe, complete astonishment. It's like, where did you come from? And then he bows his head and he goes down. He holds his hand to his knees and he's like, oh my goodness. I mean, I was driving perfectly and then this pole just walks in front of me. There's just some things that are really obvious. You know, if you're doing something that is not right with reference to the law, it's going to catch up. And when it has caught up with you, there shouldn't be any complaints. You may try your best to defend. And what is the thing? Guilty, no, innocent. Innocent until proven guilty. And here's the challenge of that. Guilty people always think they're innocent. And innocent people don't understand why people think they're guilty. I'm not saying that because you're innocent. If you're innocent, you're innocent. But sometimes, you know, you're innocent until proven guilty. But there are just some things that will go against you and work against you. So if you are breaking the law, you know, you're illegal. Just figure it out. Now, let's go now to when the Guyanese gentleman who was deported with a number of valuables left in the island. So he wants to come back. Maybe he'll be able to explain and defend, well, I was there for 7 or 8 years and I wasn't paying NIS. Or maybe he was. But you were not paying taxes. Because if you were paying taxes, you not having papers would have been obvious. So you were not paying taxes, but you were doing certain things. And I mean, other people may say things like, well, he was paying for water and you've got the VAT on there, but VAT is not your annual inland revenue taxes. They will say, well, when he goes to the supermarket, he pays VAT. Did you just hear what I said? VAT is not inland revenue taxes. You have your VAT, which you pay on everyday items. You have your concise tax. You have your what do you call them? Not tripids. What do you call them? That's science. What do you call them? Not value added, man. What's the other one we apply to when you apply it to duty and, import and export and so on and so on. Those kind of taxes. He would have paid all sorts of taxes, but then at the end of the year, you do know that you have your land tax, and you have your income tax, and then you have your business tax and all those other taxes that you definitely were not paying. That helps the country to come out of debt. So the challenge of that is this: we say the country is broke, or the country keeps borrowing, but it's just a vicious cycle, and sometimes we need to just open our eyes wide enough so that we can just absorb some of the things that are going on around us. I have to remember, slow down my speech. I was told I speak rather quickly, so I'm going to slow it down and continue. So yes, it's a really vicious cycle that we are in, and people really and simply and truly need to realize what's going on when it comes to the aspects of the island or the country or the law that needs to be adhered to. Because when you break one and then it's simple, subtle, nothing to it, big deal. I mean, I'm paying my taxes, I'm making jobs for people, yada, yada, yada. So who tell you that them other people paying their taxes? This is why the country has decided to do something like take this tax, remove it from here and apply to other places. And a lot of people are thinking, well, we're saving because we don't have to pay the road tax. But now people are complaining that gas has gone up. As in vehicle fuel has gone up. Or what is it called? Natural fuel, natural gas, and, transportation fuel and so on has gone up. Businesses have to pay an increased tax. And we just might find that there are people who are skipping on these taxes because they're saying, well, what we were paying was enough. But then we complain when we say the country broke. How does that work? I remember when I first went out looking for jobs and so on, I mean, fresh out of school, and I was doing some additional studying and so on, and I applied for jobs. And I went to a particular establishment, and I applied for the job, and I got the interview and everything, and I don't know if the manager was trying to make a point, but I was 18 going on 19. And mind you, before that, all my church folk would tell you that I was selling. Whatever I could find, I was selling. All right, because I was selling since I was 5. So whatever I could find, I was selling. I was selling CDs. I was selling bread. I was selling stuff that I made. I was selling everything. And so I went for this job because selling is hard work. I was also selling my services, marketing, advertising, and PR. I was selling my voice. I was selling everything. And I decided, okay, I want something stable. And when I went for the job and I got the interview, the gentleman, he sat across me and he sat back. And why do they all do that? Sat back, and he chilled in his chair a little bit, and then he said, "So you don't have any qualifications. You don't have any experience. What do you want me to do here?" Now, that was probably my 5th interview that week. Okay. And I'm serious. I told the man this. Now, I had a few qualifications. Don't misunderstand this. I had a few qualifications, but not enough for that job. But to get those qualifications, I needed to make some money. So I told the guy this. So, sir, I don't want to be rude, but in order to get the qualifications that you want me to get, I need to get some money to pay the institution. To get the money to pay the institution, I need to get a job. Now, to get the job, I need the qualifications. And sir, again, I don't mean to be rude, but to get the qualifications, I need the money. To get the money, I need a job. To get a job, I need the qualifications. My hands are tied. I didn't get the job, but needless to say, a few years later, he hired me for my services. I was able to do some voice work for him, and he remembered very well. And I got a nice tip. My fee was doubled. I was excited. It's a vicious cycle. Everything in life is a vicious cycle. And yes, sometimes we need to give people a chance, but then sometimes some people just need to learn the hard way. I learned the hard way. That you know what? Some people are going to give you a chance. And other people are just going to think that you're going to mess them up somehow. You're going to mess up their world if they give you a chance. It's crazy. It's crazy. That is not applicable to that is not applicable to the immigration, because I still think that you can, work things out a certain way and do things a certain way. Now, I want to chat about this lady. This is called 1, 2, talk it off. 1, 2, talk it off. 1, 2, talk it off. And I'm talking. So if you want to join in my conversation, please feel free to do that. Put your comments below. Let me know what you think. Let's work on this. Let's do this together. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was this lady in Dallas. And she sold one of her children to get to cover a debt, to cover not just a debt, but to cover a drug debt. And I really think that was crazy and horrible. And I don't know how many people are going to agree with me when I say that that's crazy and horrible. But so you have a habit. You have a habit and you decide, okay, so I am going to continue to try and deal with this habit. All right. And her way of dealing with this habit, I'm trying to get some music for you guys here. So her way of dealing with this habit, I think I'm going to get you some Gita and Tico. If you don't know who Gita and Tico is, it's a group from Jamaica. Yep. And from this album, Royal Priesthood. Royal Priesthood. And this one is called Sodom and Gomorrah. Me warn ya. So, she decided that she was going to sell one of her children to cover a drug debt. Okay, so I've got issues with the woman. I've got issues with the fact that she sold one of her children. All right? Now, your mind's messed up. You're not thinking straight. Things aren't going the way you want them to go. You're off your edge. You do crazy things. Chemical imbalance if you choose, depression, bipolar, all the crazy other diagnoses that you have going on nowadays. Who is buying a 7-year-old? And then when you buy that 7-year-old, what are you doing with that 7-year-old? So I'm trying to think positively here. And I'm saying, well, somebody's buying the 7-year-old because they realize this woman is in trouble. And they're saying, well, we're going to cover her debt. And in the meantime, we're going to help this child get out of this situation. But I don't think so, because she had 2 other children that she was going to sell. All right. And when you buy these children, are you really trying to see how you're going to take care of them? Is that your main aim, your main goal, that you're deciding that when you buy these children to cover a drug debt, that you are going to take them into your home and take care of them, or turn them over to child care services, or what is it, child protective services, child care board, wherever it is? What's your aim in buying these children or accepting these children for payment of a debt? How crazy is that? We complain about the different things in our society that we don't like, and the violence, the sexuality variations, the political assault that's going on the countries. Not just America, not just Barbados, not just Trinidad, not just Jamaica, not just the Mediterranean, Middle East, India, not just that. We complain about all of it. We complain about the poverty. We say, hey, G8, do something. And it doesn't seem as though G8 is doing anything. But then what are we doing? When a normal, regular, everyday person decides, well, she owes me for 2 bags of meth, so I'm going to take one of her children as payment. What are you doing with those children? How crazy can you get when you decide that a couple bits of cocaine or meth or marijuana or whatever it is, a child is the payment. What are you going to do with that child? And if we think about people who are doing this, you're thinking, well, there's only one thing you're going to be doing with a child like that. Maybe use them as a mule. Maybe use them to make the stuff. You know, you're not thinking anything positive. Like I said earlier, you can be thinking, well, this lady is crazy, so I'm going to take the child from her and consider her debt paid, and wherever she goes, but the child is going to be safe with me. I don't think so. Why would you do that? What is going on in your head that you would think, well, this little boy looks nice. He can go far with selling for me. Man, come on, man. Really? Really? That's your solution to your debt? You've got debt collectors that will, I don't even think they will take your car if you owe them $1,500 or $20,000. They will not take your car. They want you to go and do whatever you need to do and bring their money for them. But they're not going to take your, they're not going to take your I guess the bank would call that a bill of sale. But the bank will take certain things to make sure that everything goes a certain way. People are just crazy. Yeah, I'm just getting some more music here because I'm kind of liking the flow of having music in my background here now. And I've got a peep around the corner of my screens because Karine decided that she was going to be a genius and that she was going to put up two cameras. I know what she's trying to prove, but I hope it's working. I really hope I'm working because right now she can't see properly. Yeah, Karine is talking to her about herself in third person. All right, so all right, and here, so I'm gonna give you guys some Emerald Henry, and this one's called Energy. No, End of Time. Yeah, that's what this one's called. End of Time. Right. So, again, just going back to the whole thing of selling the child. Yes, the woman is, her mind is not right. Things aren't going on good there. Something is wrong with her. But my attention is really towards the person who's purchasing the child. I would really like to understand and know. I don't want to hear any more of her backstory. She needs help. Clear. She needs help. She's got issues. Put her in prison. Let her deal with her stuff. Let her pay the consequences. But the other person who's buying the child, I really want to understand what's the backstory, because that's just utter nonsense. And the way people treat children, it really needs to stop. I mean, really and truly just abusing children without even giving things a second thought. Why do you? We have more compassion for animals. We have more compassion for animals than we do for our fellow human beings. And you would hear people gasp if they see somebody doing anything to an animal. All right? But let that person do something to another human being. And let's say the human being is grown. Let's just say that they're grown. And they go like, well, I mean, what? So they can do something about it. Like you would see people would display, I'm trying to get this here for you guys. Well, for me, not for you guys, really. People would display women being beaten by their husbands. And everybody would be like, well, why is she staying? Why doesn't she do anything about it? Oh, if that was me, I would do this and I would do that, and a whole bunch of other things. And they go on and on and on and on. But until you're in the situation, right, it's a completely different story, completely different mayhem. So the other thing I want to chat about today is, and I found this a little while back, and I've never had the opportunity to share it. So During the first week of school, 5-year-old Michael Komape drowned in a pit latrine in northern South Africa. So that day in January 2014 will be one his father, James Komape, will never forget as he goes back to the school in Shebang village where the tragedy struck. His pain is palpable. When I arrived at the opening ceremony of the toilet hole, all I could see was a small hand, he says. Someone was standing looking into the hole. No one had thought to take him out. It's the saddest thing I've ever seen. No one should die like this. He pauses for a moment before continuing. He must have been trying to call for help to maybe even climb out. It's hard to accept that my son died alone and probably afraid. I would say terrified. Komape struggles to make eye contact, which you can understand. Instead, he fixes his eyes on the neat row of brick toilets stalls, which were built after his son died in the toilet of a rusty corrugated iron just meters away. The iron sheet that had served as the seat collapsed when Michael sat on it. He fell in along with the seat and its white plastic lid, the authority said. But this is not a one-off problem affecting one school. While access to proper sanitation is a basic human right enshrined in South Africa's constitution, many pupils have no choice but to use pit toilets. And here's the information. More than 4,500 schools have pit latrine toilets out of almost 25,000 nationwide. Many are made from cheap metal, are shoddily built and left uncovered. Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal and Limpopo provinces are amongst the worst, says Education Minister Angie Motshega. Yeah? Eastern Cape has 61 schools with no toilets at all. And 1,585 schools with pit latrines. Neighboring KwaZulu-Natal province has 1,379 pit latrines in use. Limpopo province, where Michael Komape went to school, has at least 932 unsafe toilets. How did things get so bad? Well, analysts say it's partly a legacy of apartheid, since under white minority rule, virtually no resources were allocated to develop schools for poor, predominantly black children. Also to blame is a failure to maintain existing structures, however basic it may seem. Back at their home just outside of Polokwane, the main city in Limpopo province, the Komapes say they want justice for Michael's death. With the help of Section 27, a human rights law firm, the family are set to appeal against a recent court ruling which rejected their claim for damages over the incident. The suit is against Limpopo's province, their province's education department, which the family believes was negligent. And their case is a tragic one, but is an illustration of the dire state of public school facilities in the country. In Section 27, Zukiswa, what a name, Zukiswa Piccoli told the BBC this. We are quite shocked when we heard about the tragedy. There was no way we were not going to help. She also said that Section 27 is planning to take the case to the Constitutional Court, South Africa's highest court. It's been years of neglect. An interim government report suggests it will cost more than $876 million or 660 million euros, a sum it hopes to raise with the help from the private sector. They're having problems to address many years of neglect, but change is coming. And everybody keeps saying that. Change is coming in so many different areas. It's coming slowly, but it's coming. This is from an official in the Lower Education Ministry, Elijah Malanga. They're also having teachers patrol in another village in Limpopo province. Word of Michael's death has changed the normal school routine. Sibushi Primary School is modest but clean and well kept. Behind a vegetable garden sits a row of pit latrines. Many have a large opening at the back where teachers now monitor pupils as they use them. Every morning from 6 the teacher patrols the toilets, monitoring who goes in and out. And this is confirmed by the chairman of the school's governing body, Joseph Mashishi. So it was sad when I saw this, and the reason why it was sad for me was this wasn't in 1939 or 1984 or 1994. This was in 2014, 4 years ago that this happened. Obviously, it is going on, and it is sad that this happens. Again, coming back to race and coming back to the fight and the struggle and everything that people have to be going through on a regular basis. Why should a 5-year-old boy die in a pit toilet? Okay, so yes, the country had limited resources allocated to black people. Understood that. And, they tried their best. They put it together their best. But do you know how small a 5-year-old is? I know there's some big 5-year-olds, but do you know how small a 5-year-old is? How many of you know about pit toilets? Anybody? And when you think about a pit toilet, it is not as small as an inside facility. The circle that you sit on is not as small as the inside facility that they have nowadays. It has to accommodate everybody, and apart from that, it's basically the most uncomfortable thing you can think of. And so if you have experienced it, you can understand what this little boy... Could you imagine a little 5-year-old boy going on a pit toilet and just sitting there and probably his feet dangling off the bottom of the... Stop, Green, stop. It was just hard. It was just hard for me to hear that. And yeah, so I miss all of our problems, and I miss everything that we are concerned about. We just had, I'm going to mention it. I'm going to be knocked for it, but we just had the alumni of the Ellerslie Secondary School complaining about the new uniform, and are less concerned about the number of schools that were closed down. St. Leonard's Girls was closed, Paris, and a whole bunch of other schools that were closed. Where are those students going? What new facility was created as opposed to what were they migrated into? We have our kids that are being abused, but we're really concerned about fashion and getting kids into fashion. And it's can we just shift our focus a little bit in some areas, just a little bit, a smidgen of a bit, and see what else is going on out there. I just find it difficult to... All I can think of is, I'm not even going to when he fell into the toilet. I'm just going to just see his dangling feet as he's using the toilet. It's uncomfortable. It's hard. It's crazy. But yeah, that's what happens. We are concerned about wedding cakes and who should make a wedding cake for who and so on. And I'm thinking, go somewhere else. It's just my other thoughts. 1, 2, talk it off. 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 I had a blast talking. Thank you guys so much for chatting with me. It was fun. It was awesome. And join me next week, and hopefully all of these other little glitches disappear. 1, 2, talk it off. 1, 2, talk it off. Yay! I'll see you guys next week. Remember to join, share the video, tell your friends, tell everybody about it. We're going to have a blast next time. And we're doing makeup. Yes, we are. We're talking fashion. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Thank you guys. Have an awesome day, my friends and family.